Thanks, mate. Hi, everybody. My name's Corey Walker. I'm a proud Yorta Yorta man from Australia. I suppose my country consists of many waterways, wetlands, and this area, this photo here particularly is in the Burnanga National Park, which I'm a director and a traditional owner on the Traditional Land Management Board. It's the biggest red gum forest in the world, and we co-manage that particular site with the state government of Victoria. So that's a bit of context around that picture. I suppose we're going to be talking about ancient waters and living knowledge. Obviously, from an Aboriginal lens, we're going to be covering what we do within our fishing club and how we established the club, particularly around partnering up with agencies and federal and state, and also catchment management authorities, so the water authorities in that case. And community leadership, we're going to look at what that looks like in cultural practices within integrating Western science knowledge systems and traditional knowledge systems, embedding those into decision makers and some of the work we're doing out on country. So, I'm not really a bit of a tech guy, but I press a button.
Big green one.
Big green one? Okay. Traditionally for us, there's obviously Australia's got states and territories, but for us we've got nations within a nation. Tribal estates and areas, particularly this is one stretch of Yorta Yorta Country, so I would like to acknowledge our ancestors, elders from Yorta Yorta Country in Australia and the enduring responsibilities we carry as First Nations or Aboriginal people to care for country, share knowledge and protect our waterways for future generations. We also extend our respect and recognition to all who have joined us today at this conference, honouring your presence and contribution to this gathering. So this waterway is the Dungala, the Moira River. In our language we call the Dungala meets mighty waters or big water. It's the third biggest river systems in the world, and it stretches over 2,500 kilometres and it goes through 3 states, which is New South Wales, Victoria, and it goes out to sea in Goulburn in South Australia, out into the ocean. Okay, who we are. Obviously, start off with a conversation, the fishing club, with some of my families. We're out on country, camping, fishing, boating, sitting out in the bush, and we come to a concept of let's start our own fishing club up. So that sort of conversation really planted the idea for myself to go and make it happen, and we ended up incorporating the club and also getting a good team around us to obviously establish the club to do some cultural activities, some partnerships within stakeholders, and most importantly is some of the aspects of Burnanga, which is the Murray cod, and also some of the monitoring conditioning works we do out on country. So obviously connecting to our ancestors, it's a cultural landscape. That cultural transfer of knowledge through our elders to us is really critical within some of the decision-making process we make within government agencies and also land managers as well. So, as a director, we make some critical decisions on how we want to manage things from certain parts of country. But the relationships is building long and lasting relationships with partners is really critical in some of the work we do. It's our cultural right. We've been practicing our culture for tens of thousands of years in Indigenous Australia. So this practice has been going on for a very long time, and that knowledge system's been passed on through generations to generations. We also carry the right ecological stewardship, so caring for country. Many First Nations groups across Australia do have ranges, programs, river ranges and those sort of aspects as well throughout the continent of Australia. Transferring of knowledge, as I said before, is really important, particularly when we're losing a lot of our elders with that knowledge. We've got to capture that knowledge and make sure that's been passed on orally for future generations. That's my son too in that picture. That was a monitoring program we done with the Arthur Royal Institute. One of the government agencies that goes out and monitors fish surveys, electro-fishing and those sort of things as well. It's a really good program. We partnered up with them to get the young people back on country, and particularly around caring for those native fish species. In the context, obviously, you see Australia, states and territory. This is how we see our countries within countries. Okay, where's the little laser beam here? So my country, this is the state of Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia, New South Wales, Queensland, Northern Territory, South Australia, WA, Tassie. So my country sits on Yorta Yorta Country, just in here, in the northeastern state of Victoria. My country goes into two sides of the river, of the Dungala, which is the Moira River, into New South Wales and Victoria. That's a bit of context of all the traditional owners and language groups across Australia. So there's many countries within the country within the context of the Australia we see today. Just want to share that. Obviously, our purpose and vision, our motto is caring for country and culture. You know, we've really got to care for the culture and really embed those cultural values back in our young people. And tree fishing as a tool, a mechanism to bring in the young people, get them out on country to participate in activities like fishing, rec sports, water sports, whatever it may be. But that is the vehicle for change within the context of bringing our communities together, particularly our elders, and passing on that knowledge to our younger people. We want to aspire to be a lead Indigenous fishing club. We're the first Indigenous fishing club in the state of Victoria and Australia, which we're very proud of. And also, we do a lot of events, for community events as well, through the recreational fishing sector. And we do partner up with the likes of our Aussies over here, the Victorian Fishing Authorities and other stakeholders as well, to really support our club within some of the strategies they have within their authority and frameworks. So I'll just go on to another one. Obviously, cultural transferring of culture is really important for us as a fishing club. We're not only a fishing club, we want to transfer that cultural knowledge, particularly with our younger generation, so they can be the next leaders and passing on that knowledge as well. Fishing is about culture. It's embedded who we are as traditional owners, been passed on from generation to generation. It's our cultural right, and also we are the stewardships and custodians of country, so we can pass that knowledge on to our next generation and hand the baton over to them to do the work we're doing. As I stated before, it's really important to pass on that knowledge across generations. This is obviously our club's named after. This is the mighty Murray cod, or Burnanga in Yorta Yorta language means cod. It's the king of the waterways back home. You know, there's been a lot of stresses, I suppose, within a changing climate, a lack of flow. You know, Australia's a very dry climate. We're probably one of the driest continents on the planet. But also we've got to look at water security, habitat. You know, irrigation's a big thing as well. Country's heavily irrigated within farmland productivity. So we've got a lot of issues in relationship to protecting and preserve this iconic species. It does raise a lot of revenue within tourism as a sporting fish, and also, you know, there's also investments within the state government. We've got one of the biggest hatcheries in the Southern Hemisphere, just out of Shepparton, Victoria, through the Victorian Fishing Authority. Yeah, pretty cool fish. If you ever come to Australia, really chuck a line in and try and get one of these babies. They're the biggest freshwater fish in Australia, and they also are the king of the river, and they do attack, they do consume invasive pests like European carp and other invasives that are encroaching in that waterway. Very important to us culturally as well. Projects, you know, we're not only fishing to chuck a line in, we do innovative projects with partner agencies. Obviously I mentioned the VFA, but We've got a Dunyak Moira project we've done with the Goulburn Valley Water storage. There was an old asset that was sitting in situ for 20 years. We reimagined that place and turned it into two recreational lagoons called Dunyak Moira, which is Fishing Lake and Yorta Yorta. So those collaborations and partnerships are really important to get a communal space for all communities that live, particularly in a township. We built that, reimagined that site in the township of Merrigum, a little rural town outside of Shepparton. We'll talk a bit about that later on. We've also got the Biyala Woka project. We partnered up with the Commonwealth Environmental Water Holder. That's a peak body that delivers environmental water out to the states and territories. Biyala Woka means red gum in Yorta Country, Yorta language, sorry, and it's a seasonal cultural ecological monitoring program, particularly targeting our youth to get them to country to learn about the scientific transfer of Western science and traditional knowledge through us and those, particularly the Arthur Isle Institute and the ecologists that come out on the field with us. Obviously, the big thing around in Australia now is cultural water. We had to categorise that for cultural water purposes as well as an Indigenous man. There's a lot of talk about cultural water and how do we get water licensing and water security for all First Nations people. It's really a big topic in Australia. But for us, traditional owners, is around how do we apply that within the legislations and tool that already exists and advocate for water rights within Australia. Very important to get water rights and sharing of the knowledge and also practice sustainability practices for water security for country, which is really important. This is the Dunyak Moira site, means Fishing Lake and Yorta Yorta. We partnered up with a water corporation, Goulburn Valley Water. Cool project. Yeah, so that's finished now, and we also turned that site. Obviously, this is the site. It was a 50 meg water storage. It was in situ. Wasn't been utilised for 20 years. Something to consider about when you get home is talk to your water corporations with this old asset sitting around. You can reimagine these sites, and we bring in a collective of partners. Independent business owners as well, the fisheries, and also working in with the not only the state government but also local authorities as well to try to reimagine this place and to create something that was sitting there for 20 years. So through the fisheries, we put in some large body Murray cod or Burnanga through a decommissioned site at Greens Lake. In kind, some of the local businesses gave us some materials to build platforms, fishing platforms around the site, and now it's created its own ecosystem as well. This is our Biyala Woka Environmental Water Project. This is one of our, this is my totem, the long-necked turtle, Bayadera. As a custodian of that turtle, we've got to protect and preserve that species, but also some of the young people, young men being going out in country and learning other aspects of the biodiversity and cultural values on country as well. That's through the partnership with the Commonwealth Environmental Water Holder. So they're pretty cool projects, and getting these kids off the computers and social media platforms and get them really out in the bush where there's no internet, which is very important. Project, yep, keep going. Yorta-led framework blends traditional knowledge systems, knowledge and scientific monitoring to care for country. Focus on the Dengala, Kyla and Yakoa. They're the three rivers back home. They're fyke nets they put in there for turtles. Obviously, key components is getting that knowledge, transferring knowledge systems through our elders, community events, building capacity and frameworks as well. I've got to run through really quick because I've got 1 minute. Achievements, 2020, was it? 2023, we got an award for the Dunyak Moira project. Pretty cool. That was in Melbourne on Wurundjeri country. So just goes to show if relationships and partners are really critical in some of the work you're trying to do. And the acknowledgements was really, I suppose, as a team, a collective team, was really exciting to attend that event. Vision. Scaling Indigenous corporations globally, First Nations women in fishing, that's something we focus on at the moment. youth cultural exchange programs, global Indigenous cultural exchange, rivers fishing, governance, along with the World Recreational Fishing Conference. That's my daughter. She loves fishing, and she's really, she works for Yorta Yorta Nations Aboriginal Corporation as a water integrated officer, so back home as well. Wise matters, you know, it's all there. I won't speak too much on that, but it's, as a global community, we all got to think about, you know, working together and collaborate and share knowledge to make sure that there is water or walla and biodiversity or fish and other species that we all enjoy and inherit. Thank you.